Hi Aquarius, Trishna here. Welcome to your August 2019 reading. Before we get into the reading, I just want to let you know that at the end of this week, I'm going to have a video out on how you can work with me one-on-one. So if you're interested in that, keep an eye out. Getting into your August 2019 reading, what I'm feeling for you is leading up into August, I feel like you're in a pretty positive, good, happy place, but I also feel like you're kind of leading up to this moment where you're maybe about to break and you could really use a shoulder to lean on, or probably more likely, you could really use a shoulder to cry on. And I feel like you really just need a moment, or you're leading up to this place. Maybe you're not aware of it yet, but like you're leading up to this time where you really just need a moment, and you might even need a moment to just pout. And that sounds very childlike. That sounds like a mean thing to say. I don't mean it in a mean way at all. At the end of the day, I think that we're all just kids and we all have tantrums that we want to throw at different times. But the difference between us and a kid is we've learned to hide our tantrums and to bottle them up and keep them inside. Whereas a kid just kind of does it wherever they choose and wherever they please. So I don't mean that in a bad way at all. I also want to let you know that like I've definitely experienced those moments. I definitely remember many times in high school where, I would be up at like 1 a.m. in the morning trying to do my homework because I would have to wake up at 5 a.m. every morning, and then I would go to band practice for marching band, and then I'd go to class, and then we'd have football games, and those would go until 11 p.m., and then I would have to do all my homework after that. And from 11 to like 1, that wasn't even enough time because at the time I was in like pre-IB, and so there was like a lot of work. So, a lot of times at 1 a.m. at night, I would just be sitting by myself. Everybody else was asleep, and I would just be at my computer, and sometimes I would just break down and I would just cry because I felt like my life was over. I was never going to be able to get it all done. I was going to be a failure. It was just too much. But then I had this moment after that. Every time after I had my little breakdown, I would have this moment where I'd be like, oh my God, I just wasted so much time crying. That didn't help me at all. Like, I have stuff to do. And I would just be like fully focused on my work after that. Like, I needed that breakdown. I needed that moment. And then all of a sudden I was like, bam, nose to the grindstone, back on top of it. And so I feel like you're not really going through quite the same thing. I feel like you're doing well, but I feel like you have this moment because maybe you're overwhelmed, but I also feel like you need this moment because you've been putting in a lot of hard work, and I feel like you're not getting the amount of results that you should for the amount of work that you're putting in. That's how you feel. And so that can be very frustrating, and I think that's why you need that moment, and maybe that's why you feel a little lonely for some of you, and you have a moment to pout. And I think, like I was saying with my situation where once the pouting was done, I suddenly had like full focus. I feel like your situation is a little bit different. I feel like once you have this moment, I don't know when you're gonna have it. I don't know if you've already had it. I don't know if you're gonna have it at the beginning of August. I'm not sure when this is gonna fall for you. You may not know it because I think leading up to it, you're feeling pretty positive, and then all of a sudden it kind of hits you. But once you have that moment, I think it's gonna feel like you shed some old skin and your mood will suddenly lift. You'll feel a lot more positive. You'll feel a lot lighter. It's like all of this stress and baggage that you didn't realize that you had just gets dropped and you feel good. I feel like once that happens, your mood is going to be a lot better. You're going to hit this happy, stable place. So you're going to feel more motivated again. You're going to feel good, confident, and you're just going to want to work. You're just going to want to do what you need to do. And before, like when you're having this breakdown, it's like, I've been doing all this work and I'm not getting the results that I should be getting. I'm getting some, but not enough for the amount of work that I'm putting in. Like, it doesn't seem to balance. I think once you have this breakdown moment and then you feel better after that, you're really not going to care about that as much. You're just going to want to work and just do, and you're going to enjoy the process and just be happy with where you're at. And I think that that will help lead you to better results because you're going to be in a place where you can be consistent and just doing what needs to be done and not focus as much on counting the numbers and the results. But because you're so consistent and focused, either the results are going to come to you in due time, or you're going to find a better way to do things, or a new opportunity is going to come your way that is going to yield a lot more. It's going to be a lot more productive. So for the amount of effort you put in, you're going to get a lot more out of it because you're doing something different, or you're doing things you have been doing but in a different way. Once you have this breakdown moment, like I was saying, you're going to be on an upswing. I see your thoughts becoming more and more positive, and I see you being more successful between after that breakdown moment till December, maybe even through the end of the year. I just feel like things keep getting better and better for you. You keep moving forward, you keep going in the direction that you want to go in one way or another. So I feel like once you have this breakdown, things are just in the upswing for you. So that's really positive. That's really good. One thing I want to say about breakdowns is sometimes what they are is just a release of old baggage and emotions and resistance that we had, that we've been holding on to and we've forgotten about, that no longer apply to us, that we no longer resonate with, that no longer serve us. And but they're still in our system and we need to get rid of them. So that's what I kind of feel like this baggage is actually about, or like this breakdown is actually about, is you've had some old beliefs that you no longer believe, or that are no longer a part of you, but they're still there, and the only way to like purge them is to have this breakdown moment where you kind of revisit them, and it brings you down to this level of sadness, and then you let it go, and all of a sudden it's like it's not even there anymore. You feel light, you feel hot, you end up feeling as good as the amount of positivity and mindset work you have done. Like you finally will be at your true level of happiness, like an accurate level for where you are truly right now, mentally and emotionally and spiritually. So there's like a lot of old stuff that you're having to get rid of, and this is just the way to get rid of it. And that's why I think you're going to bounce right back really, really fast, and it's going to be really nice. So I would just look at this breakdown as a positive thing. I wouldn't be worried about it. I wouldn't be concerned about it in any way, or wouldn't fear it. I would just appreciate it when it comes, because it's just purging of old stuff. It has nothing to do with how well you are actually doing right now. If anything, it's the opposite. You're actually doing a lot better. You just need to rid this out of your system. So just keep that in mind, and just, maybe even look forward to it in some ways, because you're gonna you are a new version of yourself, but you haven't been able to realize just the joy and completeness of this new version, just because you've been hanging on to some old stuff. And once it's gone, you're going to realize it. You're really going to feel it, and it's going to feel amazing. So, I would look at this as a positive thing, as like a transformation of sorts. You've already done the work, and now it's just letting the transformation happen and getting the results of that. So, I think that's very, very interesting. It's like you've done the work, but maybe you haven't gotten the results of the transformation either. And once this purging happens, you suddenly get the results of your transformation, which I think really lines up with the reading. So again, this reading is general, so however it applies to you, but if you've been working on something like a business and putting a lot of work in and not really reaping the results that you should for the amount of effort you've been doing, and that's why you're having this breakdown moment, it lines up very much with the energetic story that's going on with you as well, where you've like done the mindset work, but you're not feeling, I mean, you may think you're feeling really positive, but you're not feeling as positive as you really could. Like, you're not actually living the results for the amount of transformation mindset work you've been putting in. And then after this purging, you will. So that's kind of interesting, where like your spiritual self is lining up very, very well. That story is lining up very well with your career or your business or relationship, or however else this applies to you, whatever area of life this applies to for you. So yeah, it's a really nice time where you're like very, very lined up. So good job with your energetic work. This is all really very positive. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful. I hope I earned your like and your subscribe, and I will see you in my next video.